Yeah, I mean, look, with my first pick, I think you have to go logical here. This is the obvious guy. Probably got suspended for something dumb, but um, Tom Brady's going to be my quarterback, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it was going to be my quarterback
you know,
too. Yeah.
we're drafting good teams here. That's the guy that I'm taking.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady, 4 games suspended.
Well, now that I know that you have your quarterback out of the way, I can cross that off my list. I'm going to go immediately for
Correct.
running back and take Adrian Peterson.
I had that as well. Okay, so now we got to scramble a little bit. I think I'm going to come right back at you with a running back here. I'm taking Marshawn Lynch, beast mode.
Oh, good pick. Actually, didn't even have him on my list. I had another running back, and now I can get him for my wild card.
Okay,
Um, I'm going to go wide receiver here. Kind of a limited position when you think about it. I'm going to take
yeah, a little
Josh
bit.
Gordon. I'm going to take Josh Gordon. If it
It
hadn't
is
happened, he'd be a phenomenal receiver.
it is a good pick. I agree. Josh Gordon, like you can't hate it. Um, it's not where I'm going with my wide receiver one. I think I'm taking Steve Smith Sr. here. He keeps fighting in training camp.
Oh, yeah. No, that's
So
kind of a soft
those are
one.
things that but
I went in a
we'll
different
take it.
direction. You went
We'll take
purely
it.
NFL. Okay. I'm left with quarterback, defense, and wild card. I'm gonna go defense.
Correct.
I'm gonna take Lawrence Taylor.
Good pick. Good pick. My defensive player is Ndamukong Suh.
Oh yeah, we went in
With the
completely
stomp.
different directions here.
A little bit.
Yeah. Um. Okay. I know I can get my quarterback in the last round, so I'm gonna go Le'Veon Bell for my
Yeah,
running back
it's a good
or
pick.
my
And
wild card. I mean, my wild card. Yeah.
I also was scrambling to find a new wild card after you took Adrian Peterson. That was going to be my guy there. So now I got to think, right? Now I got to think, do I want to go get another quarterback so we can run some dual option stuff? Do I want to just, take a guy like a Leonard Fournette, take a guy like a Vontez Perfect, really
Zeke
instill
Elliott
some
is still on the board.
Ezekiel Elliott's still on the board. Myles Garrett is still on the board, and that's who I'm going to take with
Okay,
my
that's a good
last
pick.
pick. And that will wrap up
Wait, no, I
our
still got one.
Oh, you got one more? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna round it out with my quarterback here. I have. Can't believe you missed this, Michael Vick.
Yeah, he was on the list, but I don't need two quarterbacks. I have the greatest quarterback of all time on my team.
It's true. It's true.
If you couldn't pick up on what we were just doing, I mean, in honor of Rashee Rice's 6-game suspension, we just drafted 10 players who have all been suspended for varying amounts of time from the NFL, and that's how we're kicking off today's episode. So, what do you think about all the fantasy owners who drafted Rashee Rice? He was kind of a guy that was a hot commodity last year. Do you have him? Do I have him? I don't know. In our personal league?
I have him in 2 leagues.
Okay. So that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt.
Well, I think it's kind of something you knew going in, right? It's not a surprise. It was going to be 4 to 6 games regardless. I thought the hearing would happen in September. It was originally scheduled for September 30th. So I thought I'd get at least, 2 or 3 weeks out of him first, but I like getting the 6 games out of the way. Xavier Worthy, owners are going to get all high and mighty in the first 6 weeks, but we've seen Patrick Mahomes' offense. He likes to spread the ball out, and in his first 2 years, Rashee Rice has been a phenomenal wide receiver. I know that we got a really small sample size last year, and he went down with a huge injury that he's also coming off of, which people also aren't really talking about. But he's very young. I think he'll be able to come back into this team. And by the way, we're not excusing what he did at all.
Nope.
Like, at all.
Nope.
Want to make that clear.
Nope.
He's like borderline deplorable humans list, but hasn't quite got into that territory yet.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't, killed somebody like Aaron Hernandez, who was on this list. If you really wanted to take him in the draft for the last one that we just did, but
yeah. So I mean, I think he'll be good. I think it'll take until about week 8, week 9 for him to come back and start being like the Rashee Rice that we're used to. But yeah, now I sound like I'm defending him, so I think that we should move on.
Probably move on from that.
Yeah, I mean, move on from that.
Other news in the Chiefs organization here: Travis Kelce gets engaged. We're not going to talk about that either. I had Patrick Mahomes as my one fantasy quarterback. I'll be honest with you, he was pretty awful last year. I drafted him because I wanted to name my team that looks a little Mahomey, and it's still that way. But I'm not really feeling super confident about having him on my team right now. So we'll see how that goes come the end of the season. But I do agree, Xavier Worthy fantasy owners, you bought high. Now it's time to ride the wave for 6 games and then sell. I think is probably your best bet
agree. I would agree for sure. Find that one guy in your league who's in there because he's part of the friend group but doesn't watch football, and give him Xavier Worthy week 6.
Right, right, right. I mean, on the subject of fantasy football here, just continuing with the news and the zeitgeist right now, Terry McLauren resigns with the Washington Commanders for a ludicrous amount. It feels like $30 million a year, right? $32 million a year.
2 million. I mean, when we had our guys on the show last episode, we kind of assumed that he was going to go for something in the range of the low 30s. I
Yeah.
don't think. I mean, 3 years, 32 million. I think it seems high now, but in 3 years, when you look back in the wide receiver market's at 3 years, 40 million, and someone's going to pay a 30-year-old receiver $40 million a year, you'll look back and say,
Mhm.
okay, that contract wasn't as bad as we thought.
Right. It feels like a lot, right? 3 years, 96 million. But to be honest, you had to retain your quarterback's top target, in my opinion. I mean, you brought in Deebo Samuel. We talked about it last week. But we were all kind of in agreement that like he's going to want that type of upper echelon receiver money. He's probably not necessarily worth that at the moment. But it is a contract that you have to pay him because you're trying to keep Jaden Daniels happy. You were very successful last year. You were in the NFC Championship game. Can you get back there is the question. And, you want to give Jaden Daniels the most opportunity that you possibly can to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I go to school in DC. There's a lot of Commanders fans a lot of kids in the area that are Commanders fans. And
Yeah.
every single Commanders fan I know loves Terry McLauren like he's literally part of their immediate family.
Right.
And I think that this move was kind of made half out of the talent and half the fact that you don't want your fan base to revolt against you when you have them on
Agreed.
your side for the first time in 30 years.
Agreed. Since Dan Schneider sold the team. Is that his name?
Like, yeah.
I'm messing that up? Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
it felt that I feel like that's a very important aspect. Like people tend to talk about the pure football aspect, but he is the cornerstone of this team. He's the longest tenured guy on the team, and he's the cornerstone of the Washington Commanders right now. And to get rid of him would be an even worse move, in my opinion. So I think that
Right.
they did the right thing and re-sign him.
Right. It's also like not like he's coming off a bad season or anything like that. And you're like, oh, okay, like maybe, you're gonna pay like he came off a career year. He's averaged 1,000 yards receiving for the past however many seasons. I think 8 seasons, 7 seasons in the NFL now. Um, And like it feels like a guy that like if you would have let him walk someplace else, he would have been successful there. At least for the next 2 years. I think we're gonna look back on this contract and we're gonna think, like you said, probably the receiver market's gonna have shifted a little bit. It won't look as much money as he's actually getting. And it is a short-term deal. You know what I mean? I think this is the best of both worlds for you. If you're the Washington Commanders, you got a guy that you're going to retain for only 3 years. You didn't sign him to 5 or 6, and then hopefully out of those 3 years, you can be even more successful than you were this year.
Well, and who knows, right? Like we're seeing guys like Mike Evans still be incredibly
Correct.
productive at
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
33. So
Yeah.
I think that even in his third year of his deal, he could still be a good guy. And then maybe you can re-sign him to a 1-year deal in the future. But definitely retaining him was the right move, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. Um, The only other question that this brings up to me is what Micah Parsons' contract's going to look like if that situation ever resolves itself. It feels like he's not going to find a team before week 1, week 1 coming next week. Jerry Jones seems like unwilling to even negotiate trade talks or contract signing talks. So I'm really not sure what's going on in Dallas. Do you think we'll see Micah Parsons sit out for, let's say, over under 3.5 games?
I think it's such a hard question, right? Because we've never seen anything like this in the NFL before. I mean,
Agreed.
we've seen
Aside
contract
from
holdouts,
lockouts
we've
and
seen hold-ins, we've seen
yeah,
lockouts, but we haven't seen one player say, "I won't play for you
right.
ever again." And especially when it's for the biggest sports franchise in the world, that's the part that gets me. I think that if he was playing for the Titans or the Jaguars, that they would say, okay, we'll get rid of you now. But he
Right.
is the franchise player for the Dallas Cowboys, the biggest
Right.
sports team in the world.
Right.
So I think that for me, it could go 2 ways. He could either get his way, or it could kind of be a giant knock on him and career sabotage if he sits out this whole season.
Well,
Like,
I mean, maybe
guys,
you
people want guys that'll be good in a locker room. And right now, it seems
correct.
like he's horrible in a locker room. And this
You're
isn't the
also
first instance. I mean, we've seen him make horribly outlandish comments in the past. We've seen him be very outspoken. And yeah, he's a phenomenal football player.
right.
But the question is, can he be a good locker room guy on another team? Because we know that it isn't on the Cowboys.
I mean, you're also losing, games in your prime, right? Like you just came off the
Right.
best season you ever had. Like you're demanding money. I understand it, right? You want to get paid top tier dollar for being a top tier player, but let's be honest, like the more you sit out, we've seen it before in the NBA all the time. Sit out, come back, they're not the same player anymore. They took a step back, they regressed, maybe, I don't know. Like you just don't want to see a guy like that have to go through that. And more so like where does he think he's going to land? Does he want to land at a contender? Does he want to land anywhere but the Cowboys? It feels like Jerry Jones in the front office should be maximizing the amount of resources that they can get for him because it seems like they could get some picks. They could get a first round pick and some good players. You know what I mean? This guy's never going to suit up for you. He's just going to wait. And I mean, if he's willing to wait, then there's no reason that you shouldn't just try and make a deal to a non conference opponent, in my opinion, before he goes and signs with the Eagles or the Giants
Yeah.
or someone
I
that
mean,
you don't want to see.
I agree. But if I'm Micah Parsons, why did I wait until August to say I'm not playing here anymore?
Yeah,
He
it's a
could
good
have
question.
been in a training camp with another team and been on a completely different roster by May, but he
Right.
waited until now. Which I mean, I guess is a move if you want to screw over the Cowboys out of getting anything,
I
right?
mean, you're trying to
Like,
leverage, right? You're trying to leverage your value, I guess.
I mean, yes, but you could have started the leveraging your value process way sooner. It's not like he
Agreed.
held out of training camp. He said,
Right, right,
"I'm
right.
not going to play for you."
Right.
And he said that in August. So now all the teams that are trying to give the Cowboys a deal are going to give it to them at a discount price because they know that it's either they get a bad or a worse deal than they would have in May, or Micah Parsons waits a whole season.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of petty to me, I guess is where I'm going with this. It seems kind of petty that he wanted to wait until now to give the Cowboys absolutely no value in return.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But at the same time, I don't think that he has anything to owe this Cowboys organization, right? Like Jerry Jones has made it very clear he is not negotiating with Micah Parsons. And simply put, if that's your boss, if that's the guy that you're supposed to go out there and bleed and die for, you know, it doesn't seem like that's an option. Like it doesn't seem like someone that I'd want to go play for right now. And they're in a consistent state of decline, right? The Cowboys have not been a good team in the past decade. Will they become a good team this year? Probably not, right? They're playing in one of the most stacked divisions in the NFL, and they have no defense without Micah Parsons. He is the anchor man of their defense. Their
Even
defense
with
was
Micah
bad last year.
Parsons, their defense is
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. And
Yeah, so
I mean, their offense might be fun, but yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
I completely agree with you. It seems like they're in kind of almost the Cincinnati Bengals situation.
Yep.
Looking forward to week one, we're going to have another show next week where we kind of dive into all the previews and our regularly scheduled NFL programming. But until
Mhm.
then, give me one player that you're going to have your eye on this week. Maybe not a huge player, but just one guy that you're going to be looking at this week.
One guy that I'm going to be looking at this week, I think a lot of Patriots fans are as well, is Trayvon Henderson, a guy that went really high in a lot of fantasy drafts this year. I mean, people are expecting him to take over the RB1 role the way that he played in the preseason. Ramondre Stevenson obviously hasn't necessarily been super consistent for the past few years. Um, so the question is like, what can you expect from a rookie, right? Coming in week one. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on him, and I think he's going to make or break a lot of fantasy teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good pick. That was one of two names that I had on my list. The other one that I had
Okay.
is also a rookie running back. I'm looking at Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for the Washington Commanders. All the
Mm,
fans are calling him Bill. I don't really know why.
okay.
Um, but last week, it was one of my best fantasy manager moves ever last week before Brian Robinson was traded. I went and
Mm.
picked him up in all my leagues because I saw like, B-Rob might get traded this week. He's
Yeah,
instantly
Commanders buzz.
shot up the depth chart and is now the
Right.
projected RB1 for the Commanders' first week. He's a 7th round rookie. I'm excited to see what he has and if he can kind of fill in that void that the Commanders have been looking for because their offense was so good last year without Deebo Samuel and without a dependable running back. If he can
Yep.
slide into that role, and I mean, no one's expecting him to have a phenomenal week in week one, but if he can, show signs of being a guy, the Commanders might be super dangerous this year, and it might be the piece that they were missing. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
see
I
what he
mean,
does.
I actually think that Eckler and Robinson as a 1-2 punch was pretty good last year for their ground game. I mean, I have B-Rob in a lot of my fantasy leagues, and he was just scoring a lot of touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what he did, like every a few yards and in. But I agree, having a nice dynamic back will be good. I think you could say that we have our eyes on all the rookie running backs because I think you could throw Ashton Genty in there as well, a guy that really did not look like he had it all figured out in the preseason, went really high on fantasy draft boards, and is a guy that will probably make or break your season if you decided to draft him in fantasy. So I'm interested to see what happens with a lot of the rookie running backs this year. But Trayvon Henderson is the guy, for you and I, obviously being Patriots homers, right? That's the guy that we are worried about going into this week is like, what's he going to look like? Will he show those flashes the same way he did in the preseason?
100%. And even going off that, I certainly have my eyes on the running back room in New York with the Giants. With Tyrone
Yep.
Tracy, had a
Yep.
very good season last year. They bring
Mm-hmm.
in the most dominant running back, second most dominant running back in the college game last year, in Cam Scatterbo, and I'm excited to
Yep.
see if he gets touches. I think
Right.
another thing you could talk about is the rookie tight ends. I mean, if we're going to have our eyes on rookies, Tyler Warren sliding into a starting role in Indianapolis. Colston
Uh-huh.
Loveland is projected to be the tight end one in Chicago. So
Uh-huh.
I think that all the rookies we're going to have our eyes on week one.
Yeah. 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 Lots of question marks to be answered. So I'm interested to see what happens come week one as well. But again, like you said, we'll have an update for you guys next week. We'll get that episode out before the Eagles kick off against the Cowboys. And I'm super excited for the NFL to start, man. I mean, this weekend we got college football coming back. It's not really a huge deal to me. I will probably be watching Ohio State versus Texas because there isn't a ton else on. It doesn't really resonate the same, but once Red Zone goes on that first Sunday, man, it's going to be something special. It's going to
Our
be something
last
special.
non-ESPN red zone.
Yes, it's a good point. It's a good point. I forgot about that.
All right, so moving on here, I think that we should just quickly touch on this. I don't really want to put myself in a bad spot here, but it came out this morning that Jim Irsay passed away due to a drug overdose.
Mm,
It seems as if he was struggling. I mean, he has a history of substance abuse, but it seems as if he had relapsed on painkillers and opioids prior to his death. Apparently, he had overdosed 3 times in the past 5 years before his death, which is a lot
jeez.
for a guy who's
Yep.
65.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and not say what I wrote down in the document.
Okay.
That's probably the best move. It had something to
Okay.
do with
That's
shipping
probably
a whale across the country. I'll let you guys connect the dots on that one.
you can go look that one up for yourselves. Yeah, I mean, disappointing, right? Like you hate to see owners who are super passionate about football. It seems like Jim Irsay was one of those types of guys who, sunk a lot of money into the Indianapolis Colts, was trying to do something for that organization, pass away. Um, so yeah, I mean, prayers go out to obviously him, his family, and Colts players as they try and navigate a new season with new ownership. It'll be different, right? So we'll see what happens there. Um, I think something else that we should touch on right now is um, we've been saying for a little while now this entire summer that like baseball is kind of back in Boston right now. I just kind of wanted to get your take as to like how much I should be invested. You know what I mean? Because like I'm kind of on the fence right now. I know a few of the players' names. Like I've started to figure it out. Like you've been watching way more baseball than I have, and the Red Sox post Devers trade have been a pretty fantastic team so far, pretty electric. So the power of friendship seems to be back in Boston. I think I got to start tuning in.
It's time for you to care. And it's honestly been
Okay.
time for you to care for the past couple of months. But as we gear up for September baseball and towards the playoff push, it's really time for you to start caring about the
Yeah.
Red Sox, because this team is one of those, it feels like one of those ones that we're going to really love. And that's going to
Okay.
possibly have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. And we talked about them at the
Yep.
beginning of the season as a team that was horrible last season, consistently disappointing for the past 3 or 4 years. And we were hoping that
Mm,
this year, at their ceiling, they could squeak into a wild card spot. But
mm,
Alex, we're looking at a position where we could possibly be contending for the AL East. And this team is good.
right.
And they're not like 1 year, one off good. This team is good and set up for the future to be good. We just finished a 4-game sweep of the Orioles, which I understand that they're the Orioles, but it's a 4-game sweep. We took 3 out of
Against
4
the
against the
division
Yankees.
rival.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've won 7 out of our last 8 games against the division, which is
Correct.
huge. We are 4 games back of the AL East, and we are in command of the top wild card spot. I
Yep.
mean, it's a tight race, but we have a phenomenal month of baseball ahead. We're going against the
Agreed.
Pirates, and then we have we have another series against the Yankees. We have another series against the Rays. We have one against the Blue Jays. we have a lot of division games left, and then besides that, aside from the Tigers, there's a lot of games that we can win in there. So I think that
Yeah.
there's exciting baseball down the stretch for the Red Sox, which, I mean, even if we fail, and God forbid that happens because we are rolling right now,
Mhm.
the fact that we're this late in the season and we can still care about the Red Sox
Right.
means that it might be time for you to tap in.
Right. And it's also like all the guys that are really big contributors this year. I mean, like aside from your Bregmans, aside from your Durant, Jaron Durant, I'm not even going to call a veteran. You know what I mean? Like, but aside from your Bregmans, your Walker Bueller's, your Aroldis Chapman's, who's pitching the best baseball he's pitched in maybe his career right now.
His entire career.
He has faced what 41 batters and has not allowed a hit or like or a run. I don't think which is
In his
pretty
last
incredible.
41, yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible, and for a closer who has been throwing nothing but fastballs since 2008. Like,
No, that's not true. That you must not be. That's a sign that you're not watching. Aroldis
oh, what
Chapman's
is he
been very
doing?
good because he's figured out how to throw a sweeper. He's figured out
Okay,
how to throw a cutter, and I mean, yeah, he can still pump it in at 102 miles an hour when he is really feeling himself. But I mean, he's throwing a ERA hovering right around 1 right now, which is just ridiculous, especially at 36 years old.
yeah,
He's been the best closer in baseball. Cedane Rafaela is
he's been
going to win a
unbelievable.
Gold Glove in center field.
Yep,
Garrett Crochet, who you signed to a long-term deal, you knew that he had it in him, but I mean, he's playing to his ceiling right now, competing for a
yep,
Cy Young award.
yep.
So
Roman Anthony is
it
probably going to be on the worst contract in baseball in a few years because
exactly, you
he
locked him up
undersold.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jaron Duran
Um,
looks great as well.
the whole team is just full of guys. I mean, it feels like we have a real roster. You have those guys that can come in and pinch hit in tight spots, like Ref Snyder, who's good against lefties, phenomenal against lefties.
I
Um,
mean, Trevor Story's been playing well. He hasn't
that
been
was
good
my
in the
next
Red Sox
point.
uniform since this year.
He had another home run today. He's having his first good season, healthy season in a Red Sox uniform, playing for another contract. And I think going
Yep.
into the season, it was like, we can't wait to get off this guy. But at this point, you have to have a legitimate talk about whether or not you're going to bring him back next year. He's probably competing for a Silver Slugger at shortstop in the AL. He's got 23 home runs,
Right.
flirting with 100 RBIs. He's probably hovering around 90 right now. And he just hit his 23rd home run of the year this year. He's got 25 stolen bases. So, I mean,
Yeah.
your team
Yeah. Yeah.
has leaders and it has young guys and it has people that can fill their roles in great pitching. And I think that's the difference this year. It feels like our team has a real identity for the first time in at least since 2021, probably since we won
Since
the World Series.
Yep. Yep. I mean, when it comes to culture, I always think of 2013. That's the first team, that Boston Strong team with, Shane Victorino, Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz, right? Like that's probably one of my favorite teams of all time when it comes to baseball. But I agree. I think that Alex Cora has done a fantastic job this year, relying on his young player. And similar to the way that team was structured, that one team from 2013, you have really strong leaders like Bregman, like guys like that who can control the locker room. And then you have contributions from your young guys. And that like chemistry is really carrying through in a way that I did not expect it to post Rafi Devers.
Yeah,
How's
and
he
it
been doing?
seems like he's been fine. He hasn't
Okay.
been as good as he was on the Red Sox, but he's been fine.
Okay.
But that was really the turning point. And I think that when he was traded, a lot of people looked at the Red Sox record and they looked around and thought that management was crazy, but it seems as if they do have a vision. And that's really good to
Right.
see.
Right. Yeah. It felt like they were going into full rebuild mode then. And I mean, maybe like, honestly, with the way that they've been playing with all these young players, like it probably was like that for a little bit, but now they're just performing just as well as, anyone else in
Well,
baseball right now.
they've
And
sped up
it's
the
always
clock,
good to
right?
beat the Yankees, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we're 7-2 against the Yankees this year, but it's always good when your team speeds up the clock, and it's really what's happened. Like we thought that
Agreed.
this season at that point would probably be a chance for you to throw all your young guys out there and just see how they do and give them at bats in the majors. And then next year was really your year. And I think that all those guys have kind of carved out real starting roles in the MLB for themselves. And uh,
Hmm.
you you don't even have Marcelo Mayer on the team right now. He's out for the
Correct.
season. So it's all kind of coming together for the Red Sox, and they just need to stay hot going into the postseason because we've
Yeah.
seen in baseball It's a lot like March Madness. Not a lot of times the
Yep.
best team wins. A lot of times it's the one that gets hot at the right time.
Correct. I agree. I mean, look, I'm starting to get back into it. I'm hoping by October we're still playing and I'm really invested. Because that'll be good for everyone. That'll be good for
Yeah, it's good for Boston too. Speaking of Boston, I saw something that made me smile today. I saw a picture of Jason Tatum and Isaiah Thomas hanging out at Bradley Beal's wedding, and that
Yeah,
put a smile on my face.
it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I mean,
I love
I
IT.
I
I
was
love
gonna say I
IT.
can only
Another
speak for
guy
me,
that
but he's definitely my favorite Celtics player of all time. I think a lot of the
yes.
people our age from Boston would give
Mhm.
you the same answer.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's that's not ridiculous to say that.
no, it's not at all. I mean, he for us gave us that same feeling that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are giving the Celtics now. The only difference
Right.
is we didn't win.
Right. Right. It would have been nice to win a championship, I guess. But yeah, he made me watch. Isaiah Thomas was the reason that I was capable of watching Kelly Olynyk play basketball. Like,
And
good on
and
him.
Daniel
National
Tice.
treasure. But yeah,
Yep.
right. Aaron Baines, Cody Zeller, or Tyler Zeller. Sorry, Tyler Zeller.
Yeah.
Um,
There's some
who
bad
else was
players
on
on
those
those
teams?
teams.
Jay Crowder.
Yeah. Jeff Green. He's a good
Was he
player.
there? Wow.
Maybe
I
before
didn't
Jay
realize Uncle
Crowder
Jeff was
for
there.
sure.
Yep.
Marcus
Sullinger, Jared
Morris.
Sullinger, Marcus
Yeah.
Morris.
Jonas Jerebko.
Oh, good pull.
He was a starter
Good
on that
pull.
team.
Shane Larkin. Um,
Brad
yeah.
Wanamaker. We could go all day.
Yeah. Who else?
Tremont Waters is
Tremont
who you're looking
Waters.
for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not great teams, not great. He was top
No.
5 in MVP voting one year, dude. That's
He
that
averaged
year.
30 points a game.
Yeah.
It's like the third highest in Celtics history.
It's hard not to love IT. It
It
really,
really is. It's also hard to find guys that can name more random Celtics players than we can from that era.
Yeah. Yeah, that is our bag. That is our bag. Avery Bradley, we didn't say him.
Yeah. That's kind of a random team when you look at sports teams through a lens. Like if we
Yeah.
weren't Boston teams or if we weren't Boston fans, we'd be like, dude, that Celtics team with IT was so random.
Right.
And we
Right.
carried that theme over to today. We've got a draft for you today. Alex and I are going to be drafting our favorite random teams that we just loved watching. Maybe they didn't win
Yeah.
anything. Maybe they did, but they're not thought of as perennial champions. We just love watching these teams.
They're also not Boston teams. We're not allowed to do Boston teams this week, and we're not allowed to do teams that we are the primary fans of. So there are no Duke Blue Devils on this list. There are no stuff like that, right? These are just teams that we decided we liked for some odd reason, and we're bringing them to you first. I think you have first overall pick here, right?
Yeah, I do have first pick. My first pick, this team did win, but they're still like just one of my favorite teams. I'm
I
gonna go
know
with
exactly
the
where you're
Seattle
going.
Seahawks Legion of Boom.
Was not my pick. That wasn't the one. So I'm glad you took that.
I was talking about that with some of my buddies the other day. Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Bobby Wagner, Cam
Yeah.
Chancellor, Martellus or Michael Bennett was
Michael
on the
Bennett.
defensive
Michael
line,
Bennett.
Bruce Irvin, Brandon Browner, Malcolm Smith. I just named 8 players on a defense. How many defenses can you name 8 players from?
I hated the Legion of Boom. I'll be honest. But
In the moment,
it
I
is a
probably
really good
hated
pick.
them, but we
Yeah.
beat them in the Super Bowl. And looking back, I think, man, that team was fun to watch.
Yeah, that team was really fun to watch. My first team here, I'm shocked you didn't take this one. This one was obviously coming off the board. Another team that won one championship, 2018-2019 Toronto Raptors. You knew someone was going to say it at some point. Kawhi Leonard, Toronto. That is like my favorite. 1 year, guy comes in, wins a championship, dips. The team sucks again after he's gone, but like it was an incredible run from that team, and they were so fun to watch in those playoffs.
That was a strong first round.
Yep.
I am now realizing that there's going to be about 25 teams that I missed in making this list, but these were the ones that just came to mind immediately.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the 2018 France World Cup winning squad.
Oh, good pick.
One of my favorites of
pick.
all time, top to bottom.
Yep.
18-year-old Kylian Mbappe. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah, fantastic pick there. I also went a similar route here. with a World Cup team, I have the 2014 Brazilian national team. The team that is notorious for losing 7-1 to Germany and coming in fourth in their home country. They had like David Luiz, Oscar, Neymar Jr. Like this was when I really loved Neymar, and was like really pulling for him to win everything that he did. And I remember watching this World Cup and being absolutely devastated when they lost in the semifinal. So that team is joining my list as well.
It's a good team. My third pick that I'm going to say is 2023 Kansas State basketball in March Madness.
Great pick.
I believe they went
Fantastic
to the Elite
pick.
Eight. Marquise Noel. God, what was the name of the guy? I can't remember. He went to Florida
Keontae
before.
Johnson.
Keontae Johnson.
Yeah.
They were doing the clapping shit in the locker room before the game. Dude, this wasn't just me.
Naquan
Everyone
Tomlin,
was
bro.
pulling to watch that team go. And they were like an 8 seed that made it to the Elite Eight. They were a lot of fun to watch.
They were a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, they had who's their head coach? It's Jerome Tang. He was
Jerome
like in the
Tang.
stands. Yeah, halfway through the game, he would be like in the stands, like with the fans after the game, like doing the clap and stuff. Yeah, that was a really good pick. I agree. Similar way. You keep drafting teams, and then I'm like, I got a rebuttal here. The team that I'm going to take here as a March Madness team is the 23-24 NC State Wolfpack, a team that I watched in the. What would you say?
I just can't take them.
She weren't
They
a fan
beat
because
Duke.
they beat Duke. Yeah.
Yes.
But talk about a team that was fun. I mean, Jim Boeheim, I remember this vividly. Jim Boeheim was talking about NC State was playing Virginia in the ACC tournament. And Jim Boeheim said, neither of these teams are going to the NCAA tournament. I just want to go home when that game went to overtime. And then NC State went to the Final Four. It was the best thing ever. I loved it. I loved this 23-24 team, aside from the Duke loss, obviously, being a little bit more of a homer for them. But yeah, man, that was a fun team to watch.
It was a fun team to watch, and me and one of my best friends at school are both pretty huge Duke fans. And my roommate is a huge NC State fan. He grew up he went to high school in the same parking lot as the NC State arena, and watching that game together almost broke our friendship. We almost never spoke again. But even then, looking back, I was like, man, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, my next pick, I'm going to have the Paul George Indiana Pacers teams that went to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat. David West, Roy Hibbert, George Hill. Lance Stevenson,
Danny Granger,
in LeBron's ear,
LeBron's
that era
face,
of basketball was pretty fun. And at that time, there was really no better player than Paul George.
Roy Hibbert was an all-star and he averaged 13 points a game. Fun fact. Probably the most undeserving all-star of all time, but those teams were fun. I do agree with you. I'm going to take a fun team here too. A team that really didn't win anything. But every time that you watch them play, they just had so much fun out there. The 2018-2019 Brooklyn Nets. This is the year before the Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving trade, where they're all doing the dances on the sideline. D'Angelo Russell's, doing his thing. And then we got Jared Dudley going at Ben Simmons in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, that team was awesome. Welcome to the squad.
That's a good pick. I didn't even think of them. My last pick is one that all baseball fans will understand, but Alex, you're probably going to have no idea how nostalgic this team was. I have 2013 MVP season Andrew McCutchen and the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I had it. Yeah, it was on my list. Yeah.
Such a good team. McCutchen.
Fantastic pick.
Starling Marte, Josh Harrison, Russell Martin, Pedro Alvarez, Francisco Liriano, Mark Melanson, Garrett Cole, AJ Burnett, and there was Justin Morneau. Charlie Morton was on that team too. That team was stacked top to bottom. Mark Melanson. These guys were all so good on this random Pirates team that lost in the division series. But everyone was watching that series when it first happened because Andrew McCutchen, when I was in third grade, was the coolest guy ever.
Yeah, I agree. I did have that team on my list because I was thinking about the Pittsburgh Pirates the other day. They haven't been even in the wild card since 2015. In 2012, 2013 was the last time that they made it through the wild card and into the playoffs. So I like that pick a lot. I'm going to take my last one here. This one, I just don't know why. Um, I was such a big fan of this team at the time. I really just wanted them to win the Super Bowl, and I can't rationalize it. Like, I really don't understand what the story is here. I have the 2011-2012 Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco led Ray Lewis. Yeah, exactly. As a Patriots fan, like, it hurts to say, but I don't know why. I really liked this team at the time, and I'm sticking with it. I'm taking 2011-2012 Baltimore Ravens.
You know what? That's true to yourself, and I appreciate that. But they did beat us in the
Yeah,
AFC Championship game that year, which is
they sure
tough.
did.
Also, seeing Ray Lewis get a Super Bowl in his last season was pretty sweet, though.
It was pretty cool, though. Yeah, it was pretty
That's when
cool.
the power
And the
went out.
Harbaugh brothers, that was like the first time that they faced off. Um, so yeah,
That was
that
a
was
cool
pretty cool.
Super
Do you have
Bowl.
any? Yeah, yeah. Do you
I've
have
got
any
a bunch
honorable
of
mentions
honorable
over there?
mentions.
All
I
right,
do,
let's
yeah.
hear them.
All right, my first one, I got some random ones. My
Okay.
first one is the year that the Steelers had Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Martavis Bryant. It was like 2016,
Mm,
maybe. That was a cool
mm.
team.
Yeah, that is a cool team.
Another one.
I had the 2020-2021 Milwaukee Bucks on my list as an honorable mention. I just really liked Giannis that year. That was the Drew Holiday year, where he got his first ring, and then I mean, I'm always pulling for guys in the top 75 to get a ring. So it was
See,
cool
I
to see
really like
Giannis get
that
over the
Phoenix
hump.
Suns team.
Yeah, I did too. Both of those teams I liked a lot. That was post COVID. I think that there were still fans in the stadium. Jeff Teague got a ring, by the way,
Yeah, he
in
did.
that year.
Shout out.
So shout out.
My next team is the 2016 Washington Wizards when they had
Yep,
John Wall, Bradley Beal,
yep. I had that.
Kelly Oubre, Otto Porter, Marcin Gortat. That was a cool team.
Yep, agreed. I had the Lob City Clippers on my list as well. Another team that was just fun. Never really won anything. We're supposed to be better than they were. Doc Rivers led, but
I have the kind of chalk here. I've got the 2010 Oklahoma City Thunder. Harden,
with
Westbrook,
KD.
Durant.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
cool team.
I have MVP Russ OKC. So that's post Kevin Durant leaves for the Warriors, triple double king, Russell Westbrook, 6 seed. He's yelling at Damian Lillard and all them. And that was probably the best season of his career. And that was just a super fun team because it was literally just one guy versus the world.
I've got one that I wasn't really alive for, but I just think in theory is really cool. The Jamaican bobsled team. That's just cool.
Yeah. I mean, no hate there. Yeah, it's a good pick. My last one that I had for an honorable mention, I had the Redeem team, which was kind of another cheap one. The USA Olympic team with Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, like probably the best
Cool.
team of all time outside of the Dream Team.
My last pick, it's not so much a team. I just listed a bunch of NFL running backs that I wish were still in the league. I have Arian Foster, Jay Ajayi, Darren McFadden, Eddie Lacy, and DeMarco Murray. They all had like one really good season. I'm going to throw Jamal Charles in there too.
I would throw
Just
Jamal
a bunch
Charles
of
in there.
guys
I'd
that
throw
had
Todd Gurley in there.
Todd Gurley, number one probably out of that group. Just guys that had like a really sick one season.
Yeah, Jamal Charles is such a throwback. I don't know why, but like every time I hear that name, I'm like, oh, that's a nostalgic. A running back. Whatever happened to Jamal Charles? Yeah, I agree. You could probably add in a few years we're gonna add like Breece Hall to that list or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, doing I think next episode we should do a draft of like 1 year wonders. Guys
okay,
who are good for like 1 year.
great idea.
All right, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with our week 1 NFL preview. Come on.
Bang.
I'm excited.
Let's go.
But until then, this has been the Corner Office, and I'm Jack Byrne.
I'm Alex Penders.
Feel
Corner
like
3.